Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Investment Realtors Podcast.
Hello, hello.
Go to Realtors Podcast. My partner here and co-host, Louis Sao.
Hello, everyone.
How you been? Did you guys miss us?
It's been a while.
Did you even notice that we didn't even post for a week?
They've noticed. Come on.
Okay.
I'm sure they've noticed,
We have,
right?
we have another I Spy here today, but we won't tell you what because we
Something's-
want you to comment.
Something's different. I don't know.
Is it we're both wearing black V-necks?
Yeah, why are we both wearing black V-necks
Well,
today?
So we have a good topic today, folks. We're going to talk about the 70-30 rule.
Yep.
When it comes to house flipping.
Yep.
Just kind of the do's and don'ts and why some people get into it when it can be a lucrative, I guess, business, really, because a lot of people do flip houses as their primary source of income.
Yeah.
Just make sure you claim it on your taxes and you
Always.
don't do funny stuff.
Never evade the tax, man. That's number one.
You hear that? They come knocking.
Hey, can you get the door?
Okay.
Yeah, so basically a lot of people have over the years been asking us about, so what is house flipping?
Mhm.
What do you look for? How do you know how much to pay for? Everything about it, right? So one of the rules is for house flipping is a 70-30 rule, the 70% rule. And that's basically has to do with the percentage of like what you pay for the house, what you spend to reno it, and then what you could sell it for.
Mhm.
So it's broken down as the APV, which is the after repair value.
Okay.
So there is a calculation for it. It's after repair value, so ARV times 0.70, which is times 70%, minus the estimated repair cost equals the maximum buying price.
Yeah.
So
makes
to
sense.
summarize it, just if that's mumbo jumbo, just hearing it, it's what do you think you're going to sell it for?
Yep.
Times 70%,
Mhm.
right? Minus all the expenses you're going to put into it.
Of course.
And then whatever that number is the max you should buy that property for.
Makes sense.
So if you're looking at the market, I mean, one of the things we notice too, even when people try to like lowball stuff, there are some things to look for when lowballing a property.
Mhm.
Days on the market,
Mhm.
property condition, the type of market you're in, the activity around it. So not every house you could do kind of like a lowball offer, even though everybody always thinks they can.
Mhm.
Everybody always comes up to us and says, hey, can we lowball this? Can we lowball that? It doesn't always work that way. There's a couple market factors that have to be involved before you lowball a place, right? And that's kind of what this article is talking about, just other conditions, economic conditions, additional costs, variables,
Yeah.
timelines.
So playing devil's advocate,
Yeah.
what would be a reason why you couldn't lowball?
Market activity.
So because houses have been selling for what they've been listed for over asking,
Exactly.
you couldn't really go in if a house sold for $1 million, and that's kind of the trend. Trying to go in at 800 is not going to do anything.
No.
Now,
No.
what happens, playing devil's advocate here, if the owner who bought to flip is over their head? I mean, at what point do you kind of cut your losses where, yeah, you need $1 million just to break even,
Yeah.
but now it's the reverse of that. You bought in an area where the houses are, let's say,
Going down.
900,000 and you need $1 million. So, what do you do?
Well, they're definitely going to be selling at a loss.
Yeah.
A lot of times that it's rare, but sometimes we've seen power sales.
Yeah. I mean, I think where everybody kind of gets confused in Canada with the power of sales is they oftentimes end up going for market value. Sorry,
Yeah.
not rent.
Yeah.
And if not, sometimes more, because it's the same kind of people in the same pool looking. So they think that this house that's worth 800,000, they're going to get it for 4. After the bid said and done, everybody throws their hat in. It sells for what it should in the market value or more.
Yeah. Well, the bank's not going to give away an asset.
No.
Everybody thinks just because a bank's selling it, bank's got enough money.
Yep.
They could sit on a place for months and months and months and just keep it for sale. We've seen places.
Yeah. They just want to recuperate their cost into it, and
Yeah.
anything above that is gravy, really.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's part of the reason why you can't always lowball a place.
Yeah. So we understand the difference on, lowballing, what houses are going for. So what kind of tips would you give to, like, a rookie trying to house flip? Is that something that could be out of your depths where, you like homes, you maybe are in the trade or whatever, and you think, hey, I could flip this house and make some money? Like, what would be some tips or tricks that you would try and give somebody to kind of avoid any, shortcomings or loss, because at the end of the day, when you're buying a house to flip, a lot of people don't take into consideration you have to carry that cost of the house,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
of mortgage,
Yeah.
bills. Then
Yeah.
on top of that, if you're the subcon or the general contractor and you're subbing this out to all the trades need to get paid. They're not
Yeah,
waiting till closing.
exactly.
So you need, X amount of capital up front.
Yep.
So what would you suggest, or what would you do? Like, would you maybe going in with investors who are seasoned, that have done this before, maybe
That would help.
going something less risk? Because I mean, a lot of people just think it's as easy as, riding a bike. Oh, I buy this house.
Of course, everybody thinks that.
I'll pull down this wall, I'll put that tile there, look at that paint, and now I made $1 million.
So you're telling me I just can't knock down any wall I want, whether it's load bearing, or you tell me I just can't come?
Listen, you could do whatever you want.
Thank you.
If you
Can you
knock
just sign here, please?
If you knock down a load bearing wall without actually properly reinforcing, your house might fall on you. So if you want to take that risk,
But we're insured.
oh, you're right. Okay. Yeah,
So-
I guess you're right.
So like you said, so first thing I would ask somebody starting out is,
Yeah.
how many of these trades do you know to do yourself? And how
Okay.
many do you need to subcontract out?
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, how much are you going in on this house? Like,
Mhm.
what's your down payment like, and what's your mortgage structure going to be? Because if you have to carry it for 6 months
Yep.
at 6% like mortgage rate, or if you have to carry it for a year, 2 years,
Yeah.
how much money do you have to carry this house? How much work can you do yourself? And where are you going to buy this house? Like, is the market you're buying in, is it growing? Is
Yeah.
it declining?
Yeah.
Are houses on that street being renoed?
Mhm.
Or are you the first house on that street to be renoed? Are you the last house to
Yeah.
be renoed? Like, where are we doing this, right? Because a lot of people think you can pick any house in any street in any market and
Yeah.
flip and reno. You can to a degree, but that's very rare, and you got to be able to do a lot of the work yourself and have a lot of money to carry it. And the more mortgage you have and the longer it takes, the more money you're going to lose
Yeah.
on carrying costs.
And I mean, just because you know how to do something doesn't mean it's going to be up to par with somebody who's in the trade that does this every day. So
And we
yeah,
see it.
you're saving some money by doing some plaster and some paint. But
Yeah.
these professionals have an eye for detail. And we could tell right away a DIYer versus, okay, yeah, this is somebody who's been doing it for 20 years. And there's a reason why good help is hard to come across, because people don't just give away their services for free. It took them years to get to that point. So yeah, you can be, of course, you have to cut costs where you can and be a little
Yeah.
frugal, but that will impact your bottom line. So I mean, it's tough when we get even seasoned investors who have done maybe rental properties that say, oh, I'm going to get into house flipping. Well, owning a rental property and being a property manager and managing people and managing expenses and this property and the upkeep is totally different
Way
from,
different.
okay, you have to sign up. Okay, your plumber's coming the same day as your electrician and your painters. Oh, okay, but the painters got there first. Well, what are you plastering if they still have to run all those pot lights?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I thought,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
so now
yeah.
you have people tripping over. Like, there is so much that goes into it that people take for granted, and we see it all the time. So, I mean, the best thing that we've recommended to other people is going with seasoned investors who
We've
have
done it before.
made money, and they could kind of help you out, guide the way. I mean, we always say the same thing: 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. When you get greedy and overzealous,
You lose some money. So a couple of things
yeah.
to keep in mind just for costs when you're flipping a house.
Mhm.
Homeowners insurance, property taxes, capital gains tax,
Mhm.
financing costs, interest payments,
Yep.
closing fees, and title insurance.
And those are just a few.
And those are that's surface level stuff just to keep in mind.
Yep.
There's way more stuff that goes into this.
Well, what about your own personal home? What about your own personal expenses that go with all of that on
Yeah.
top? It's
Your time.
Your time,
You
yeah.
Think of yourself as a wage.
Yeah.
You have to pay your own wage. You're going to spend a whole year renovating a house and not get paid for it.
If you work full time, I mean, okay, so which one's
That's
getting
another one.
what's
Yeah.
getting your full priority? Your job that's helping you sustain this, or a potential risk? I mean, without any risk, there's no reward. We know that.
Of course.
But you need to walk before you can run, and that's just our only advice. We've seen tons of people that have made good money doing it. Some people get lucky, some people are just good, some people have a knack for it. But I mean, what Lewis kind of broke down on the 70-30 and the things to keep in mind, and yes, even if you are putting in some sweat equity, if you don't do it every day, you're not going to be as good as the Mr. and Mrs. Smith that like have their drywall company for the past 20 years that are in and
Yeah.
out like this, and everything's spotless. There's no
Yeah.
seams. There's nothing worse than going into
A
these
DIY
renos.
special.
And that's the first. Okay, this was a DIY special that your buddies came over. You guys had a couple 2-4s. We see what you did
Those
there.
are the best. Those are the best days.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically it. That's what I would give for advice
That's fair.
on house flipping. So,
any of our faithful viewers have any, tips or tricks? I'm sure there's been tons of investors that have done it themselves. Leave some comments down below. We love to give free knowledge to everybody.
Happy to read them out, answer any questions.
Yeah. We're gonna bring back the Q&As. Been just annihilated with so many email questions that have been great on our past viewers. Yeah.
They've been good.
All right.
All right, guys.
So
next time.
Until the next one, Lewis, Justin, Lewis.
Signing out.